Hey Zebo,
Hey,
how's it going? Welcome to Closed Rounds, Breaking the Box series. You're on our series because we think, intonation and what you're doing is incredibly cool and actually genuinely helpful for founders as an investor. So we'll start off by allowing you to introduce yourself. Please tell us about yourself and what motivated you to be where you are in your career today.
great. Well, thank you so much for having me here. A bit more about myself. I grew up in China. I came here when I was 15. I wanted to be a musician. I applied to Juilliard as a violin major. Couldn't get through the final round. Went to Columbia instead. I had a band freshman year. I had a music startup sophomore year. And then I went on a more traditional path, did banking and consulting within the TMT sector. And then COVID happened and I saw where the market was. I was in the process of starting my own startup back then. I already have a bunch of people in China, family offices who are going to support me. Unfortunately, my startup had like real estate exposure. So COVID really just screwed up the plan. But I was in contact with a few founders. I know exactly what's happening in the market. I thought it was a great opportunity. It was chaotic, but once in a lifetime opportunity to jump in and start taking bets. Um, and I pitched that to my supporters, and I was grateful, very grateful that they got on board with the idea. So we put Intonation together, went to market, immediately started investing in pre-seed C companies, mostly in the consumer tech realm. Um, yeah, and we're having a lot of fun. The second question is on what made me want to be here. I guess what made me want to be an investor. Um, the real answer is I want to be as close to the heart of the entrepreneurship ecosystem as possible, which are the founders. I want to be as close to them as possible. I wanted to be a founder. I want to own my own business. I want to support them. I want to be with them. And being an investor is one way of doing it. And being a founder is another way of doing it, as long as I'm ingrained in the ecosystem and meeting interesting people, working on products, supporting companies that are bring people tangible values. Um, I'm very happy living that life and doing what I'm doing. So that's exactly why I started Intonation.
Yeah, love
Yeah.
to hear that this is a pandemic venture for you too. It sounds like.
Yes.
Do you find yourself teetering between I really want to be a founder today and other days you really want to just be an investor? Do you kind of flip back and forth between like a tug of war?
Yes. Yes. All the time, probably multiple times a day. Which is why we started the studio line of business. We're building products internally. They're not, venture backable per se, but we think those are products that we hope we have in our lives, either as an investor or a consumer. So first product we're building is a Discord scraper. So it enables people like me who invest or community builders to understand quantitatively what a good online community looks like. The second product we're building is a hyper social version of Spotify. We think we're music lovers, obviously, from my background and the name of my fund. Um, we think Spotify is a phenomenal company, but not doing enough for real music lovers who want to connect with each other based on the type of music that we enjoy together. So yeah, these are products that we are building and we hope to release something every month. Eventually, if we hit a product with great market feedback, then yes, we will absolutely run with it. But I'm super young. I'm very grateful to be where I am. It's only right for me to take more risks and explore both sides of the table.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How do you split your time then between analyzing investments and now building at the same time?
Um, some weeks are a bit slower on the investment side, some weeks are a bit slower on the building side based on development timeline, deal flow. So far, we've found time to really just split the two. It's like 1 week sprint on the building side, 1 week sprint on the investment side. I do expect things to get a bit tougher down the line, but that would be a great test for us to really efficiently build up the team, build up the processes, and do both efficiently.
Yeah, I'm glad the answer wasn't that we're just not sleeping. So that's good to hear that you're running in sprints and can
I
balance.
think one of our team members is probably not sleeping much. Actually, all of them sleep later than I do, which I've been telling them not to.
I mean, your thesis is to build products and invest in products that bring joy, right? So I think
Yes.
sleep must be one of the core pillars of that. But yeah, can you share
Yeah.
a little more about, speaking of your thesis, what it is and what informs it?
Yes. So there are 5 categories. Well, there are multiple categories that we think constitute this joy factor. One is convenience. If you're saving time doing what you don't want to do, you are happier. 2 is making money. If you can do what you love to do and make money while doing it, or make more money doing what you're already doing, then you'll be happier. 3 is the creation of new experiences. We think with technology, there are a lot of activities that are previously not available for mass majority of the people, such as building software, writing songs, or creating beautiful videos. Those opportunities are being opened up, and that active process of creation is happiness, is joyful. And then 4th is community. Over COVID, I mean, we met during COVID online, and it just shows the power of community. And now we're looking at community both in person and also online, how that support people to foster a feeling of togetherness and belonging. Nobody wants to be alone 24/7. And then last part of it is the surprise factor that we're just constantly looking at. We're trying new products every day, and we really want to see that smile a new product brings to the user's face. It could be the design, it could be the onboarding flow, it could be 5-second video on the walkthrough. But yeah, that's the X factor that we're looking for every day. We want to hear the users come to us and be like, "Wow, this is the thing. You got to try it." And you see in their eyes, you hear in their voices. That's when you know. That's when you know the initial product user fit is there.
That's great advice. The sparkle in the eye, so not quantifiable sometimes, but you just know it when you see it. Also, it's really cool to hear you talk about it because you have that too when you talk about your thesis.
Yes.
That's pretty cool that it's very clear you love what you do, and truly believe in this thesis. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Again, I just don't think people will use a subpar product twice, or more than they already do. When they see the next option that are not even 10 times better, they're like 2 times, 3 times better, people know it and they'll shift. But anyways, I just think we spend so much time online using using digital products. Why not make it a more joyful experience?
Yeah. So then do you find yourself emphasizing design and UI UX at a lot more than perhaps like in the initial rollout? Is that one of like the key things that you look for?
So that's such a great question. So I believe in minimum lovable product. So you have to put out a product that you think people will love. I don't want to deal with HTML files or super ugly forms, and none of the Gen Z, which is who I spend the most time with, none of them would ever use a product like that. Maybe yes, in very exceptional cases, but people do care about what it looks like. Especially Gen Z, they've seen so many products already. They know what a good product looks like. It's very hard for them to stick to an ugly product for long. So does it matter? Yes, absolutely. And a lot of times what a product looks like you know, tells a lot about the ultimate ideals and the mission and sort of the vibe of the community that the product is going for. If that is not set and clear from the get-go, it's really hard to assess where the founder's mind is at. And at the same time, the product often looks very similar to who the founders are. I don't know if there's a better way to describe it, like, but you can tell it's such a reflection of the founders' personalities. And that's pretty obvious. We're assessing founder market fit here. So for music, for games, you need certain type of founders with certain type of taste. And that permeates into product design, not
You've
just for
seen that
looks.
when
Yeah,
you're looking.
just the user flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that something you do in a first meeting with a founder then, is basically ask them to walk through a product with you?
That would be my preferred way of having the first meeting. I love it when we're like 6 slides in, we got to the product slide and the founder's just like, hey, why not just let me show you what the product actually looks like. Pull up Zoom or send me a link, I get on. I love doing that. It shows a lot of confidence in the product itself. Like they're sure that it won't break. I can easily get on board it, figure out what the product actually is. But yeah, I really care about having the product in my hand and experiencing it. That's why we never do pre-MVP or pre-minimum level product type of investment.
Yeah, you guys need to trademark that phrase. It's awesome.
I stole it from somewhere else, and I don't know. I forgot where, but don't quote me on it.
No, that's really good advice, and helpful to know for anyone that's about to have a first meeting. You take that slide out, get on Zoom, get on the demo. Yeah, good to know. And on that same vibe, but kind of switching a little bit, do you have any advice for a first-time founder who is beginning their fundraising process or is looking for pre-seed seed funding?
Yes, I think in today's environment, we're seeing more people stacking safes at different valuations. Perhaps just for example, the first 250K at a 6 million and the rest of the million or 750K at 7 million, something like that. It's actually fairly effective to get the first money in, to get the ball rolling, because the first check is normally the hardest. Nobody wants to be the first one, even though everyone claims their first check in. I'm even guilty of that. Sometimes I look at a company, I've done first check in, but that's on very rare occasion where I just feel such strong conviction. A lot of times, yes, I also do look at other investors as a signal. People don't like to talk about it, but most investors, that's literally the signal that they care the most about. So knowing that investor mentality is pretty helpful for founders to generate FOMO. It's sad that, you know, investors do have this herd mentality, but founders can use it to their advantage to get them on board.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're saying, use the terms to your advantage to get those first couple checks in, and the others will follow.
Yes, which is why I partially think we're seeing so many oversubscribed rounds. A party round come together pretty slowly or slower than an equity round, than a price round. But no, sorry, not a price round, with a round with a lead investor. But when there is a fairly reputable lead investor who put down the term sheet and the founder tell everyone else we're fast follow, yes, the round naturally becomes oversubscribed. It's just what it is. So for the party round, if the founder can lock down a couple of notable angels within the field, a couple of notable advisors, or even just smaller funds who are willing to put in like 100K to 200K checks, they'll get the ball rolling, and people will feel more comfortable about it.
Sweet. Thank you so much for that advice. There was so many good nuggets of advice in this entire call. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. And yeah, I just want to thank you for taking the time and being so honest, transparent, and really being here for the founders.
No, thank you, because I want to be, I truly respect the founders. I think the founders have a tougher job than investors. And yeah, I can't deny that my heart is on the founder's side. So
Very
uh,
clear.
I'm sure eventually, I will be a founder myself going out and fundraise. So, uh, or even just being an investor, raising from the LPs, quite similar. So,
Yeah, can't
um,
wait to have you back on this side and feel lucky that you're on the other side right now. Really putting yourself in the shoes.
yes, and I think that's the foundation of any good collaboration and partnership going forward. So,
Sweet. Well, thanks, Ivo. We will see you hopefully at Closed Rounds launch,
yes,
and we'll continue the conversation then.
for sure.